Hello everybody, welcome to the weekly bump. Thank you guys so much for being here. So as always, we have 3 piles. Pile 1, we're using a Carnelian stone. Pile 2, a Celestite, and pile 3, a Kambaba Jasper. So the way this works is you just get to pick a pile. So if you're feeling inspired or feeling pulled or drawn toward a specific pile, then that's definitely the pile for you. However, not everyone always feels that, so it's okay to just randomly pick one as well. I always say you can always ask a question. Sometimes you will get an answer for your question as well. Timestamps for each pile will be found in the description box and the comment thread down below. All right, see you guys in just a sec. Alrighty, pile number 1, you guys selected the Carnelian stone. So let's go ahead and see what comes. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I do have a little bit of a lingering cough here. So let's go ahead and see what comes out for you. Okay, the Morai, the future. All right, so we have the 3 fates showing up here and they're weaving the fate. Okay, so there does seem to be destiny kind of at play here. And whatever choices, whatever decisions you're making it in this moment in time, I feel like I'm actually feeling weirdly like it's a new web that you're weaving. It's something new. So you're not necessarily, going down old paths with old people. You're starting something fresh. This is what we can expect, obviously, from the Saturn-Uranus square that's happening in the next couple of days here. As the sun moves into Pisces, it's going to be very clear that we are breaking and ending something pretty substantial and significant in our lives. So when the future comes in, I think it's a very positive omen that there's a brightness, right? We have this very bright light in the center of that spider web there. There's a brilliance or a brightness or a light at the end of the tunnel, that there's direction here. I don't know that now's a really great time to be second guessing yourself in any way, shape, or form. When you're feeling settled on a decision, run with it. When you're feeling okay, this is what I want, just go for it. I really, really wouldn't spend a lot of time getting a whole bunch of people's opinions and getting other people's ideas, because they're all on their own timeline and it has nothing to do with you. You have to be able to trust yourself right now. Okay, you really, really, really do, because you're the only one that's living your life. And I know that not everything always works out. I know that sometimes we had to let go of things before we were ready. And I know that there was loss, and I know there was stress, and I know there were all these stories, that you went through, and all these experiences that you had. But now it's time for something a little more powerful and a lot more meaningful. Okay, think of a lot of the things that happened to you recently as being more preparatory than anything else. 5 of coins. See, yeah, the Magician. There's really strong creation energy coming from you guys. Ooh, the Ace of Rods. Ooh, and the Wheel of Fortune. So we have the future and the Wheel of Fortune. So things are turning for you. There's nothing stagnant about where you are. There's so much movement. And I think the Pisces, as the sun moves into Pisces, Mercury, excuse me, I'm so sorry, is going to be making his way into station direct on the 20th. And then we'll continue, moving back direct through Aquarius and then in through Pisces. There's kind of a preparatory time. This is a time of prepare for your future, prepare for the opportunities. Because if you're in this place of scarcity here, feeling sorry for yourself, feeling unhealthy, feeling, kind of down in the dumps, or feeling if there's any kind of a pity party going on at all. I'm not saying that's for all of you, but if that is going on, you need to really focus on your state of being. You need to focus on getting yourself out of that funk, right, with the Magician, and start taking control and expressing gratitude and being open to the idea that maybe you don't have all the information, because there's this whole web here. It's all fully weaved for you. And just because you're just on one little strand of it, it's kind of like I'm just getting this vision of like being at the Grand Canyon, and like I took this tour, and they're like trying to show you or give you some idea of how big the Grand Canyon actually is. And they're like pointing over, okay, well, how far do you think that point is over there? And you're like, oh, maybe 10 miles or something. And they're like, nope, that's like 80 miles away. And you're like, whoa, that's crazy. That's how big it is, And I feel like there's a skew in your perspective right now, which is why that 5 of coins is really coming out. But if you can get yourself into that mode of like, okay, my perspective is skewed. I accept that. But what can I do from here? And I don't necessarily know that this Magician and Ace of Wands is about trying to control stuff. I don't necessarily believe that it's about trying to force your life into the certain direction that, or changing your behavior, changing you in order to feel worthy or whatever. It's more about really allowing your most authentic self to really shine through as powerfully as you can and healing the things, right? 5 of coins, there's definitely a message of healing. So if there are any feelings of insecurity or whatever, those things very specifically came out for you at this time so you can heal them, so you can become whole, so you can become strong, so you can become a more deliberate creator in your life. And the things that came out to trigger those things are not the end all be all. It's not the final point in the story. As we see with the Wheel of Fortune, the 6 of Swords, things are moving, and they are moving quickly. And hopefully you're on board with that. Hopefully you are see, even the 2 of Swords. I like the 2 of Swords because it's a very peaceful card. She's got her blindfold on. She has her options on. And yet she's not necessarily trying to force one direction or the other. She's just kind of like, I'm just going to sit here until I really know what's right. I'm going to sit here and surrender, kind of in this sensory deprivation kind of way. I'm just going to surrender and allow this Wheel of Fortune, allow my fate, allow my destiny, and allow my spiritual evolution to really guide me. So you're in this creative spirit. You're in this place of power and self-empowerment, or hopefully you're getting yourself there. Pisces season will be really, really good for that, for healing, okay? In order to prepare you for what is to come. But you need to know that things are coming. And maybe a little bit of a sense of urgency will be helpful. I'm kind of getting a fiery vibe from that carnelian stone right now with that red-orange color. Like light a fire under your butt. Like this is not the whole story, is not the whole web. Okay, so be prepared. More is coming. I think it's really good stuff because you've got the Wheel of Fortune here. You got the Ace of Wands here, which is a significator of blessings and new ventures, new businesses, new ideas, new creative efforts, new people, new love, all the things. Okay? It's all here. So we have a third eye chakra. Okay. Well, we like that, obviously, because there's that, I kind of like 2 of Swords with that. It's not about what you see. It's not about what you hear. It's not about what you can understand and comprehend. We as human beings, we have this tendency to lean on our intellect. We lean on what we can wrap our heads around. And that's kind of a 5 of coins type of thing. Like I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to lock it in. I'm trying to assign meaning. I'm trying to, have all the answers to all my questions. I'm trying to have and to grasp, it's all very scarcity mindset stuff. But the third eye is much more liberated than that. And it's more free. And I think this is what these 2 cards here truly represent, along with the 6 of Swords, is there's this freedom. And even that kind of light at the begin or in the center of the web, there's this third eye illumination. There's this power. But it transcends human comprehension. We need to understand that there exists a world out there that is beyond the human mind itself. And when we tap into that realm, there is no fear. There are no limitations. Okay? And I'm almost kind of feeling like you guys are really inviting God or Source into your hearts right now. And if you're in a 5 of Coins place, make a conscious effort to invite, the Creator into that space, into your life, into this moment, into this place. Not to help you get out, but just to bear this load with you. Because I think that if you share the load with someone greater than you, greater than all human beings, okay, then that's how you will find this sense of empowerment. Now we have the sacral chakra coming out, and I love that, again, with the orange, like reddish orange stone, a lot of grounding here, but this is also really, really creative energy, especially with the Ace of Wands here. Creative energy coursing through you, coursing through your hearts, and I don't see you moving into a place with a lot of walls. I'm really seeing a very blank canvas, okay? And you get to create whatever it is you want. But you had to go through this 5 of Coins stuff in order to get you prepared for what's about to come. Communication is key, okay? So I know that Mercury has been retrograde. As Mercury makes his way into direct, I think we'll have more interpretable, I guess we could say, interpretable conversations. And we will also be more accepting of what others have to say as well. So in terms of what we need to say and what we need to hear, there will be more acceptance in general, which will be really great. Oh, and there we go. A time for healing. Yeah, exactly. And it is a time for healing. It is a time for us to, I think the word is acknowledge. Acknowledge the pain that we either didn't know was there or that we were pretending that wasn't there. And I keep looking at this 5 of Coins. It could be physical pain. It could be emotional pain. It could be insecurities. It could be feelings of lack of worthiness, lack of deserving. It could be all those kinds of things. And somehow that Saturn-Uranus has a way of smacking us across the face, getting us to really wake up and not be hindered anymore. Sometimes our own liberation can feel oppressive. And I'm wondering if that's kind of what's going on, that there's a liberation that's happening, but it's actually feeling very oppressive. But it won't for long. I guarantee. Yeah, see, music, harmony, exactly. Everything is perfectly in sync. The rhythm is moving perfectly. The sound, the vibration, everything is perfect for you right now. I know we might not perceive it that way, and that's maybe not the word that you would describe as everything is being. But it is so perfect. And taking time to cast judgment on situations and people and circumstances and yourself is a waste of energy. It is an absolute waste. Okay? All right, so we have the lizard spirit, dream the world into being. I love that a lot, given the blank slate kind of energy. And the dream that you have is a part of the destiny. If it wasn't meant for you, if it wasn't something that you was ultimately yours, it wouldn't even be in your dream space. It wouldn't be in your sphere. It wouldn't be in your consciousness. So don't be afraid to dream the things that you really want to dream. Now, be careful of trying to dream other people into things, because I look at the Magician here, and you have to be careful with Magician energy. Because once you start saying, well, I want that person to be here, I want that person to do that thing, that's kind of a dark magic kind of thing, where it sort of impacts the energy and therefore the free will of another person. And you be careful, because you might just get exactly what you ask for, right? So this is more about you. Keep it you-centric as much as you possibly can. And don't worry so much about how things are going to be. Just focus on the ultimate goal, and the how will present itself. Remember, your perspective is very skewed here. Oh, purpose. I know what I'm here to do. Well, I hope so. I hope you feel that. And that's what I'm sensing, like with that Ace of Wands, Six of Swords, there does seem to be a direction. And maybe you've been kind of floundering. I think we've all been kind of floundering a little bit of like, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I choose? I don't know. And we've been feeling very scattered. Pisces season might still be a little bit like that. That's the nature of mutable water. I mean, it's not necessarily so directed. That's why I'm saying Pisces season is likely a preparatory and a healing time. When we hit Aries season, there will be a lot more direction. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, I think will feel a lot better as the year continues. But I do think you can expect to kind of get hit by that bolt of lightning, if you will. You'll have that sort of third eye awakening, or that aha or illumination moment that will be quite profound, and there will be no second guessing yourself. Last card is knowledge. Seek knowledge. Well, be careful that you're not necessarily only relying on books. I'm not saying you can't read books or talk to mentors or teachers. You definitely can do that. But because we have the third eye here, because we have the Two of Swords here, and kind of this sort of kind of crescent moon energy, I feel that there's something softer trying to come through. And if you're using your intellect so heavily, you might miss it. This is information that is derived from meditative spaces. Okay, it's pulled from quiet time, contemplation, solitude. And it doesn't come through trying to figure things out. I really do feel that Source is trying to illuminate you somehow, and it's important for you to be open. And if you're limiting yourself to, again, the opinions and the ideas of others, that channel is closed. So while there's nothing wrong with mentors and books and things like that, be sure that you take it upon yourself to invite the source knowledge in. Okay? All right, you guys, beautiful reading for you for the week. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Talk to you guys very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, pile number 2. You guys selected the Celestite. Let's go ahead here and see what comes through. Starting with the Graces, festivities. Okay, well, that's a nice card to get. Maybe, excuse me, I'm sorry, you guys, I do have a cough. Maybe you are going out as much as you can. I know that there's a lot going on in the world right now, but, you know, spending time with people that you love and you care about. Maybe there's a little bit more social activity than there has been recently. Festivities, you know, it's joyful, it's fun. It's, you know, it's about being a human being, right? Going out, eating good food, listening to great music, spending time with people that make you laugh, you know, having good sex, and enjoying the physicality, enjoying the sensuousness of life. Mars still in Taurus, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, so enjoy it. And if you have an opportunity, take it. All right, let's see what comes through here with the tarot. So we have Devil, Two of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Nine of Cups, Three of Coins, High Priestess, and the Five of Cups. Kind of drawn toward these two cards here on either end. There seems to be, I don't know, I feel like there's like a balance, right? You've got the Devil over here and Five of Cups over here being balanced out by the fun stuff. So I don't know if you're going through something, emotionally or in a more materialistic kind of way, and balancing it out with the joyful things in life. Or maybe you guys are going through something in private, something that not a lot of people are really aware of, or not a lot of people can really see. Maybe you guys are hiding some stuff from people. I think this Saturn-Uranus square has really, really forced a lot of stuff to come to the surface. So whether that's, feelings of, I don't know. It's hard for me to put this in a box because it really could be anything. It's just anywhere where you feel limited, anywhere where you feel like you want control, but you also don't have control. Places where you're creating tension because the more and more you think about it, or the more you try, the more tension it creates, and therefore the very thing that you're trying for gets further and further away. I do feel like there's an energy of pushing something away, although the Five of Cups is kind of telling me that there's something that is inevitably going to spill, right? Inevitably something is going to fall. And no matter how much you try to prevent that, there's really not a lot you can do. Now, the good news is that with all these other four cards, is that there's a lot of hope. So it's almost telling me that as soon as you decide to consciously let go, as soon as you decide to let these cups spill and to let something leave your life, you'll find so much clarity in probably every area of your life. And I think your High Priestess is really speaking to you and saying it's time, right? Uranus, Saturn square, it's time. And when the Sun enters into Pisces on the 18th, okay, so the Saturn-Uranus square is official on the 17th, although I'm pretty sure we've all been feeling it, but it's official on the 17th. On the 18th, the Sun moves into Pisces. On the 20th, we have Mercury stationed direct. So it's that time, it's that season, it's Pisces season where deep healing is needed. And it's very clear to me that, something has surfaced specifically so you can heal, probably your own limitations, and the places where you want nothing more than to control it, right? And the world says, nope, you're not really in control here. So you're going to have to really deal with that. And that's great Pisces season energy is healing that kind of stuff. And really understanding where that desire for control, where that desire for possession, that desire to have the thing or to have the person or, whatever it is, where does that desire really stem from? And to heal that wound. It's like the wound behind the wound is what I'm sensing. But because you're going that deep, right? Because you are in that place of depth, there is, we have Two of Wands, Nine of Cups. These are both cards of opportunity and possibility and wholeness and richness and prosperity and, just wishes coming true and just ultimately good things. We have the Three of Coins, which is about creation. And, and I sense that you're clearing up. It's almost like I'm getting the image of a clogged drain. It's like once and for all, right? You get that little snaky thing and you snake your drain, and finally that clog is officially gone, as opposed to just continually pouring down that liquid stuff that kind of works, but not really. It's kind of taking care of half the clog, but it's not the whole thing. This is really the whole thing. But I do think there's an element of surrender. You have to let the cups fall. You have to let the clearing out really happen. And it's almost kind of like accepting, right? High Priestess, Divine Feminine, surrendering, accepting to the things where you really just don't have the control. And allowing change to happen without trying to prevent it. I think one of the worst things with the Saturn-Uranus square that we could ever possibly do to ourselves is prevent or try to modify our behavior, to modify ourselves, to modify our life in any way, shape, or form, specifically to prevent something that we're afraid of happening from happening, right? Because then that's going to be so, it's going to be so much harder because change is inevitable. And the undoing of Pisces season, it's like the undoing is inevitable. There is just really not a lot that you can do. Pisces season is going to be strong preparation mode, right? Strong healing, strong preparation. We're going to have the opportunity to really, I'm getting the energy of like open. I'm looking at this Two of Wands here. It's like really opening up, getting a higher perspective. And I think Pisces season will really afford us that opportunity to do that. We're going to have our perspective sort of busted wide open. Oh, goodness. Okay, well, this is all very much along the lines of the Five of Cups here. I'm going to pull out both of these at the same time. So we have emotional loss and heartache and loss. I don't know if this is going to apply for everyone. I'm not saying that everyone is all down in the dumps and sad or whatever, but, you know, it is going to be a time to let it go. And it can be hard. That's why I like the festivities, because it does offer that balance, you know, because it keeps you grounded. It keeps you in that state of, you know, like I'm alive. It's a temporary experience. We can still find things that are joyful. We can still find things that are pleasurable and happy. And really connecting with the things that make you happy is going to help balance out the things that are probably not making you feel super great. The emotional loss, heartache and loss is a part of the ebb and flow. And it's something that I think the more accepting of it that you can be, the more you can invite source or spirit into the experience itself, the more free you'll be. Okay, so let's see what else comes out here. A time to give rather than take. You know, I am sensing a lot of outward flowing energy as I look. For some reason, these cups are like really standing out to me, and like it's like the liquid falling out of the cups. It is a time to let things run out. It's a time to give. Now, this is more service oriented, you know, in terms of being there for others, that type of thing, which can be hard when you're experiencing this type of stuff. It can be really, really, really hard. And yet sometimes that's the best time. You know, to be there for someone is kind of the surest way to ensure that someone will be there for you. But in any way that you can give, in any way that you can provide, it will be a good week to do that. A new romantic cycle begins. Now, I know that not everyone is always here for love. So romantic may or may not mean like actually romantic, but the new moon in Libra could mean relational. Okay, so that there's a new relational cycle beginning in the way that you deal with people, in the way that you are in relationships. The new cycle will begin because there's a new you that is emerging. That's why. And because of the optimism and hope that's coming through, especially with these two cards, you know, I don't know that you guys are all like necessarily getting so bogged down by emotional loss and heartache and loss, although, you know, understandable if you are. But if you know that this is a part of a bigger process, it doesn't have to be so daunting. When you are shedding skin, when you are... Have you guys ever seen... my God, I follow all these like animal accounts on my Instagram, and one of the people that I follow posted this video of like a tarantula shedding its skin. It is like the most horrifying like video I've ever seen. Oh my God, it's so scary. But I'm kind of giving that image of like a tarantula like on its back shedding its skin. It's a very vulnerable place, but it's also a powerful place as well, because of course you emerge as a whole new self. And I'm getting a sense that that's kind of where you are. It's not a pretty process. It's not pretty. But because of who you are becoming, your whole life, your relationships, they're all going to transform for the better. Okay? So there's really a kind of a grand reset happening for you guys. Shape-shifting. That's an interesting one, because this is more energy. With the rest of the reading is more about coming into your authentic self. It's not about identities. It's not about wearing, being someone or behaving in a certain way or doing something different for the sake of getting a certain outcome, and sometimes this can be a very exhausting experience. So maybe ask yourself, where in your life have you been shape-shifting? Where have you been wearing a certain facade? Where have you been altering yourself? Because the high priestess it's always a call to come back home when she shows up. There's always a call to come back home. And I think it's important that you listen to that call. Like, drop what you're doing and come back home. The shape-shifting, taking on different forms, taking on different personas, whatever it is, come back home, come back home, come back home. The wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. An important part of our journey here is not just to learn the lessons, but to actually apply what we've learned. And, with all of the spiritual people out there, I cannot tell you how many people are spouting off all these golden words of wisdom and yet putting absolutely none of them into practice. And now is your chance to say, okay, I can consciously accept that something is draining out of my life. I can consciously accept that there is going to be some kind of a loss, or that there's going to be some kind of something going out in the outward direction. I can consciously accept that a new cycle is beginning. And that it's time for me to consciously let go. Let go, let go, let go. And this is how you do become wise, is by putting into practice that which you know. Okay, so yeah, interesting. Virgo energy plus a service energy. So there is something about what you give and what you provide with the people around you, excuse me, within your community, within your, businesses, your companies, whatever it is. Service, I feel good when I can help others. And I think that's going to be a really good place for you to use your time, to use your energy, to show up for other people, not as a mask, right? This is not a shape-shifting thing. It's not you wearing a mask. It's you stepping outside yourself for a minute. It's you stepping outside yourself for the sake of perspective. Okay? Face your fear. Okay, well, release the power of fear, that strong devil energy. Release the power of fear. Because I think one of the reasons why there's a kind of a clinging or a clog, if you will, the reason why that's there is because you're afraid of what will happen like what happens when all of a sudden the water starts flowing, when it's all easy. What happens when you don't have to work so hard? What happens when, it's good. Weird how we can be afraid of that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have a little tickle in my throat. But it's weird how we can sometimes be afraid of that. So it is time to face your fears, but not to face them to conquer them per se, but to face them to release them. Okay? All right, you guys, kind of a big reading this week. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Bye. Okay, pile number 3. You guys selected the Kambaba Jasper. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Starting off with Iris. Well, that's a beautiful card. There's an energy of hope. There's an energy of kind of wholeness, completeness, or right messages, sort of kind of receiving messages from spirit. So if you are, right, we do have Mercury going direct, all right, on the 20th, not till the 20th, but still in the next several days here in Aquarius. And you could find some clarity within yourself, especially. I feel like where there had been chaos, there will be order and some balance will be reestablished, which I think will be really nice because maybe, there had been some turbulence for you a little bit. So I think things will reestablish or come back to a place of order, which will be nice. All right, let's see. We've got the Lovers, 3 of Cups, Knight of Swords, the 9 of Coins. Oh, well, Justice and the 8 of Wands. So definitely an energy of things coming into balance. I feel like a lot of people feel very stuck and yet they're so far from actually being stuck. And this is how Mercury retrograde has really skewed with our perspective. I feel like he's really, really played with how we've been seeing things. And as the sun moves into Pisces, we're going to have to go with the flow a little bit more. Okay, we're going to have to kind of follow our light. I'm looking at this Knight of Swords. He's kind of got this shimmer on his sword and he's looking toward his sword. Like you have to really follow what you know is best for you. You can't get distracted. You can't listen to anybody else. You can't, take things too literally if it's coming from other people, like their opinions and their advice and stuff. You really, really, really have to be in a place of listening to yourself because you are receiving messages. You are messages that are very specific for you. And no one else can understand that. No one else can interpret that. No one else can hear it even. Spirit wants you to prosper. It wants you to have love and companionship and friendship and joy. And, it wants you to have the best things. It wants you to feel great. And it wants you to get there fast. It doesn't want to hang you up. It doesn't want to cause all of this stagnation. It wants to help push you through. But you have to listen. And when our minds are so convoluted, right? They're so convoluted with the way that we think it should be, or if there's anyone else in our life, we often can do things for other people, whether we realize it or not. But this is time for you to really step away from kind of tethering yourself to other people and saying, what is for me? What is for me aside from my partner? What is for me aside from my family? What is for me aside from, my friends and my coworkers? Like, what really is for me? And I think you're going to receive some amazing answers this month. I know this is a weekly reading, but energy is kind of starting this week, but you're going to be receiving some pretty amazing messages. And of course, the Lovers is, of course, a card of Gemini, which is Mercury ruled. And a lot of air energy, actually. We've got a Libra card, we've got a Gemini card, another Gemini card. So when it comes to the overall essence of the week, plus messages itself is a real mercurial type of quality. So you're kind of hanging out in the air element right now. You're hanging out and kind of tapping into that high air vibration. So there can be, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I have a residual cough here. there can be a lot of movement that really happens, and a lot of things that change very, very quickly. So don't be afraid. Although I don't see any fear here, which is great, but there's no reason to be afraid. You just keep on keeping on, right? You've got your eye on the glimmer. You've got your eye on the light. You've got your messages in your back pocket. You have your belief in abundance. You have your gratitude. You have your willingness to move in new directions. And I think right now the universe is saying, okay, great. Here is someone who is balanced, who is ready to embrace something really beautiful, a beautiful new chapter. Authority. And this is you stepping in your own strength, right? This is you. And I love the halo around his head because it's always, that third eye illumination there of being really self-possessed, being strong, being emotionally mature, being contained, and not allowing anyone else to sway you. And I love how he's kind of like broad, like a square, like he has a very square shape. And there's that aspect of not being able, right? The square is like the most stable. That's why all of our buildings are like blocks, right? Because it can't get pushed over very easily. And I feel that you're stepping into this kind of power where no external thing or person or no emotion or no thought can push you over. This was the point, really, of the past several years of getting us to this place where anything can happen in life. Anything good or bad could happen, and yet we remain the same. It's very stoic kind of energy, and this is a great sort of place because it is a very balanced place. Ooh, and another card of triumph, exactly. Right? We've got the horse movement. We've got the Eight of Wands. There is a lot of flushing motion. You seem to be triumphantly entering into a completely new realm. You are ascending. You have ascended. I think you're going to be surprised about what Spirit really calls you to do. And I don't think you have your head wrapped around that quite yet. I don't know that any of us can really feel sure. Pisces season, my goodness, with the sun coming conjunct Neptune. That's a tough transit for some people, not everybody, but for some people, that's a really tough transit. And then it goes straight from a Neptune conjunction into a Chiron conjunction in Aries near the end of March. So this is going to be a month where if you can, just sit back and watch yourself feel the things and not become a victim of the things, right? Like if it's an insecurity about something, if you can just watch yourself being insecure, I swear you're like a million miles ahead of everybody else. Okay? It's about just watching yourself feel the things without identifying with them. And in that space, in that state of neutrality or in that stoic energy, there will be ascension without question, and your life will continuously improve. Time to release negativity. Now, I don't really see a lot of negativity come out, although the first two piles were kind of rough, pile 1 and pile 2. But I think there's a lot with Saturn involved that we all have stuff to release, right? Saturn and Uranus, there's all stuff to release. We all have things that have been holding us back, beliefs, limiting beliefs, whatever it is. And it's time to let that go. It's time to stop thinking that, you're the problem. It's time to stop thinking that it can't be done or it's impossible or you're not worthy of it or yada, 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 all the things we say. And it's time to just release and to not worry so much. The answers you need are coming. Sometimes that's one of the hardest things for us as humans is to wait because we all want the answers right now. We want the meaning of this experience right now. We want to know why this person came into our life. We want to know what's going to happen. We want to know what the future is going to look like. We want that sort of concrete information. I think you're moving into a place where that is going to happen, but right now you're not quite there. And that's why this authority energy is really important, because in the face of the unknown, that's the true test of character. If you are weak during a time of unknownness, then what good are the answers anyway? The answers won't help you, right? So this is about building strength and being a strong person, emotionally, mentally, physically, so that when the answers come, you can actually do something with the information and build from there. Because sometimes the answers can be painful. And if you go into a state of receiving answers from a place of weakness or denial or fear, then the answers can cripple you. And then you're worse off. Okay, so we want to go into this space of receiving answers from a position of strength. Innocence. I love that. Childhood innocence is always one of my favorite cards to get, because it's just so open, and there's no judgment, and it's playful, and it's free. I don't think we give enough credit to the childlike energy that we all have, and that I think we all miss from time to time. I think we miss those days when we were more carefree. But we can also just be carefree at any time. Okay. Koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. That's always a good reminder. It's a good reminder, because sometimes we always feel like we're just swimming around in this weird place. And don't get me wrong, like when the sun comes conjunct Neptune, beginning of March, it's going to feel like we are swimming in some weird current, and we get trapped in Neptune's current, right? Poseidon. We get trapped in some weird energy, and there's not a lot we can do, and da-da-da-da-da. But if we can remember that there is a plan, that there is a destiny, that there's purpose and meaning, even if we don't know, and even if we can't see, that it still exists, and that if we can have faith in that, that's what will keep us strong, and that's what will keep us going. Regret. I know that I cannot change the past. Some of us might feel a little sick to our stomach with that, because sometimes you desperately want to change the past. You want to change the way you did things. Well, if I only did this, or if I only said that, or if only this happened, or if I behaved like that, or if this was, my personality, if I was just different, whatever. We go down that road, and it's so destructive. There's no space in this reading for regret. There's no space for beating yourself up. There's no space for wishing that you had changed the things that you didn't change. It's more about accepting where you are now and moving forward, and not beating yourself up. Oh, well, there we go. Moving forward, exactly. Get ready for positive change. Exactly. 8 of Wands. This is exactly what's happening. Triumph. You are in this process of preparing for positive change. And I think it's going to really bring in a higher quality of life, a deeper appreciation of your life, a deeper sense of joy. Okay, but again, remember, you can't be listening to anybody else right now. You can't be getting your friends' opinions. You can't be letting them tell you what to do. You can't be getting their advice, unless they're experts or something. But when it comes to your health, when it comes to your love life, when it comes to your finances, if they're not really, really good themselves, or if they're not an expert or something like that, then it's not worth listening to. Okay, you have to know who to listen to. They're not receiving the messages that you're receiving, so you have to understand that And you have to trust your gut. You have to trust your intuition. You have to trust your own soul enough to know that that's for you and for you only. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Take care. Bye-bye.